Welcome to part 2 of the Night Sounds virtual lesson. As I mentioned at the end of part 1, I'm going to be using this video to teach you all about the cool way that bats hunt insects at night. And that method is called echolocation. Echolocation is a process by which animals use reflected sounds to locate an object. Now let's break that word down a little bit. It starts with the word echo. You might know what that is. For those of you who don't, an echo is when you say something or make a sound and it gets reflected off of something, say a wall, or in nature it happens in caves or canyons or in the mountains, and the sound gets reflected back to you. So you'll say one thing and then you'll hear it sounding back to yourself. How bats use this, in this diagram here I'll show you, that they will send out the sound with their mouths and it will bounce off of things such as trees, rocks, water, and of course insects. That sound is then bounced back to the bats, allowing them to locate things during the dark of night. Next, I'm going to show y'all a cool activity that you can do at home that shows how echolocation works. Have you ever heard of the game Marco Polo? It's a game typically played in a swimming pool. The game I'm going to teach you is called Bat and Moth, which is very similar to Marco Polo, but it's done outside. What you're going to have is one bat who's going to be blindfolded and in the middle of a circle. Then you're going to have a couple of moths who are going to go around the bat in a circle and try to avoid getting hit. The bat is going to call out, "Bat, bat, bat," and anytime that happens, the moths have to respond with "moth, moth, moth." This is to show how the bat sends out a sound and then has it reflected back to them. Once the bat thinks they know where the moth is, they're going to actually throw some socks and try to hit the moth. Normally you would try and tag them, but because of social distancing, we're going to have them throwing socks instead. Here's a great example of what the game will look like. On your marks, get set, go.
Bat, bat, bat. Moth, moth, moth. Bat, bat, bat. Moth, moth, moth. Bat, bat, bat. Moth, moth, moth. Bat, bat. Moth, moth, moth. Bat, bat, bat. Bat. Moth, bat, bat, bat. Moth, moth, moth. Bat, bat, bat. Bat, bat. Bat, bat. Bat, bat. Bat. Bat, moth, 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 bat, moth, 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 bat, moth, bat, bat, moth, bat, moth, bat, moth, bat, moth, bat, moth, bat, moth, bat, bat, bat. I'm out of ammo.
And she's out of ammo. Time. So that's just an example of a fun game that you can try at home to get a good example of what echolocation looks and feels like for a bat.